City council, Mayor Bing, whoever is in charge. Let's take care of business and keep the lights on in this city.
Tonight, the Action News investigators dig deeper into the mess in Detroit's public lighting department. Why are so many street lights out in our city, and what can be done to clean things up?
Just wait until you hear whose neighborhoods are in the dark and why the public lighting department is operating in violation of the law.
Here's Action News investigator Scott Lewis.
Citizen complaints about public lighting are growing louder, and very few of them are being addressed. And now we find out that a board that's supposed to be overseeing lighting has quietly been done away with. Every night, street lights burn brightly around the Manoogian mansion, but some of Mayor Bing's neighbors aren't faring as well. In the historic Berry subdivision, one of Detroit's most expensive and highly taxed neighborhoods, nearly a third of the street lights are out and have been for a while. 2 streets in the 4-square-block neighborhood are practically dark and have been for at least a year. Daylight reveals the sad conditions. Light poles reduced to rusted stumps, 3 of them in 2 blocks. When they hauled the pole off from this one, they left the wire coiled up a few feet away in a low-hanging tree. Resident Bob Zaber says he fought like hell to get this new pole put in when the old one toppled.
There's a pole.
It doesn't work.
No, it does not, and never has.
Since they put it in.
Since the day they put it in.
Down the street from the mayor's neighborhood is historic Indian Village, one of Detroit's architectural jewels. There are streetlights at every intersection. Most of them don't work, and these folks pay high taxes too. Look at these magnificent homes in the University District where Councilman Gary Brown lives. When the sun goes down in this neighborhood, it's pitch black. All the streetlights are out. A lot of Detroit's major thoroughfares also have big sections in the dark. This 1-mile stretch of East Jefferson has all the lights out on the south side of the street. Every other one is out on the north side.
Look at all this traffic. People are constantly going through here.
Cornelia Sims contacted Action News about this busy stretch of Connor between Mack and Warren. The lights have been on and off, mostly off, for months. Sims saw a woman get run over and killed crossing the street in the dark. The next day, the lights were back on, but not for long.
Does somebody have to die once a month to keep the lights on? That's horrible.
City Ombudsman Doreen Brown investigates complaints from Detroit citizens. Streetlight complaints are soaring, and she's frustrated.
Out of the 400 complaints that we've had this year, beginning January 1, only 11 have been repaired or replaced.
So what's going on here? How did things get so bad? And what is it going to take to fix it? A big part of the problem is a lack of investment. The system is 80 years old. Much of the equipment is obsolete and poorly maintained. A lot of poles have outdated mercury bulbs that aren't even available anymore. Some light poles look like they belong in Henry Ford Museum. Then there's a theft problem. These old poles are easy pickings for thieves who steal aluminum cover plates and parts inside to sell for scrap. Modern light poles don't have anything to steal at ground level. Underground, where high-voltage cables run, things are no better, according to public lighting workers. They say there's no preventive maintenance and cables are failing at a record rate. Mark Roseman was working in this manhole when a cable exploded.
Now, you know, it ain't even close to being a power company, you know what I'm saying?
Kind of a joke.
Yeah, it is a joke.
Are we that broke, or is some of this mismanagement?
I believe it's all mismanagement.
There is no top management. Public lighting hasn't had a director for months. And get this, the city charter requires a 5-member commission appointed by the mayor to oversee public lighting. Coleman Young did away with it years ago, and we haven't had one since. Attorney Bill Goodman, who has advised City Council on legal matters, says Mayor Bing could be on the hook.
In the failure to appoint a public lighting commission, the mayor is basically violating the law, because the charter is the law of the city of Detroit, and he's violating it.
Goodman believes any citizen could take the mayor to court and force the issue. In the meantime, what do we do about this public lighting mess? There's been a lot of talk about having someone take over public lighting, either a private company or DTE. Action News contacted DTE, and they gave us this statement. DTE Energy has been asked to perform an assessment of the City of Detroit Public Lighting Department, PLD. The company is looking at the PLD assets and customer base, and we've been asked to provide input on the most effective and efficient way to serve PLD's customers. Mark Roseman doesn't think a DTE takeover will ever happen.
Asking Edison to take us over is asking a guy with a Mercedes-Benz to take over Hoopty.
What Mark says about DTE makes sense given the amount of money it would take to fix this mess. But hold the phone. I just spent some time with Chris Brown, Mayor Bing's chief of operations who oversees public lighting. Brown thinks it is feasible to orchestrate a takeover by someone. He admits the system has problems. He understands why citizens are angry, and he says he's working on short-term and long-term fixes.
We're about 15 to 20% across the city that lights are out, and probably in some neighborhoods even up to 50%. So is that bad shape? Yeah, that's bad shape. Citizens should, there should be more lights right now.
I'm still putting Chris Brown's side of the story together, and we'll have more for you next week. You don't want to miss this one. It's full of important information and a couple of big surprises. Scott Lewis, Channel 7 Action News.